Hello, everybody. Welcome to a quick introductory video for Calc 2, Math 2420. I'm Ryan Jones. I'm your instructor. In this video, I'm basically just going to go over our course homepage and kind of use an outline of that to describe the course a little bit. To talk about what's expected of you, what's expected of me, and just go through some of the finer details. I am going to try to keep this pretty quick because I know videos can be boring to watch. And one thing that will help me keep this quick is that I'm actually not going to talk about exams really at all in this. We're still in the process of setting up exams for this course. So I'm just not going to bother talking about them yet. You'll see announcements later. Everything will be, very clear on what to do come exam time, but we're still working through things right now, setting them up. So I'm not going to bother with them yet. You will see them in the course webpage here. You'll see like links to them and stuff. But those are all going to be changed and everything. So don't worry about anything exam related. We'll talk about that later. But for now, let's jump into the content bar right up here at the top. This is going to be the primary place where you're going to go in MyCourses. And from here, you can access all of our modules. You can see I have a couple little modules that are kind of getting started modules, welcome modules. And then it goes into our chapters. And again, like I said, midterms, you can see final exam, but we'll wait on that. Then there's some miscellaneous things at the bottom. But let's go ahead and click on getting started. This is getting started. This is everything that you might want to look at, and not might, everything you definitely want to look at before doing any math on the course, before starting with anything. So we have things like a course schedule, course info, a course overview. Those latter two documents are pretty much the same thing, but course info is just really short. Course overview is really long and detailed. So course syllabus, information about HonorLock, which is the proctoring software we're going to use for our exams. I will talk about that in this video. A PDF of our course textbook, totally free, totally accessible. So that's nice. A little bio about me, and some other things describing, what you should expect from this course in terms of time commitment, as well as this being a pooled section. So this is stuff for you to click through with, well, I was going to say with the exception of, but I'm going to click on course schedule. You should also obviously click on this. I recommend printing this off and having this. This is long. You can see over here, it's like 10 pages, but it's all pretty repetitive, and I didn't try to shorten it down into less pages. I figured spreading it out would be nicer. The first page just shows us when each of our chapters open and close. We're going to follow our textbook directly. And by directly, I mean we're just going to go chapter by chapter in our textbook. However, we will be out of order. So as you can see, we're going to go from chapter 1 to 3 to 2 to 7, 4, 5, 6. So we're a bit out of order. I think this order makes the most sense. And there's start and end dates for this. This course, being that we're in Calc 2, and you're getting further along in your mathematical maturity, let's say, I'm leaving things pretty open to you in terms of due dates. These start and end dates, everything that you are required to do in chapter 3 opens up on May 28th, and it closes on June 7th. You have that whole time to do it. If you delay and you procrastinate, that's on you. But here I'm leaving this pretty flexible for you. These are the start and end dates. That's the time that you have to do all these things. And that goes for exams as well. I do give us a couple of business days, let's say, for doing the exams. I do notice that midterm 1 is right around the 4th of July. If that is a problem for anyone, just reach out to me via email. And then we finish the course with our midterm number 2 and our final. Both of those are cumulative in the sense that calculus is cumulative. Everything we learn builds upon itself. So, for example, midterm number 2, I say that it covers chapters 4, 5, and 6, but that obviously covers everything that we've done before. It covers everything from Calc 1. It covers every math that you've ever learned in your life, because we're supposed to know those things for calculus. So, you'll have homework assignments, you'll have quizzes associated with each of these chapters, and these are the dates. If I scroll down, you can see more detailed explanations of the sections, more detailed descriptions of the chapter. This is stuff I'll let you look through. I don't really need to, go through this in any more detail. So this is our course schedule. Definitely print this out. Have this accessible. It shows you dates very quickly. If anything, just print the first page because it's good. One thing I will note, I am going to highlight this bold part right here. This is a very fast-paced course, not to mention it's Calc 2, so it's hard. This is a 10-week course because it's the summer instead of 15 weeks. And in the course, or in the whole course, we have 31 sections of material. Whether or not you plan to work on Saturdays and Sundays, I know I don't, but depending on whether or not you're going to work on Saturdays and Sundays, you have anywhere between 47 and 68 days to do all of this stuff. You can see right there, weekdays and total days. If you only worked weekdays, this comes out to doing 2 sections every 3 days. So, a section every day and a half. Obviously, that's more spread out if you also work weekends, but this is a fast-paced course. You're supposed to be doing these sections, if I come down to like chapter 3, integration by parts, trigonometric integrals, trigonometric substitution. You're supposed to be doing 2 of those every 3 days. So while these start and end dates are pretty spread out, it's not actually that way. You're supposed to be working pretty consistently and pretty quickly. So keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and go back. Let's go back to the table of contents here. Let's scroll down. We have honor lock proctoring. I'll get to that a little bit later, but let's actually click on these chapter links here. I'll start with chapter 1, but this is actually mostly optional. There is one required section, which is section 1.5, but everything else is optional for you. So while saying that, let me just move to chapter 3, because this is the first fully required chapter. Chapter 1 is just review from Calc 1. The required section is on use substitution, which we all love and know. But chapter 3 is our first required section. You can think of this as the start of the course. So what I have here is a little quick description that just kind of shows you, just outlines what I have linked below. I have a quick overview of the chapter. This appears in every one of these modules, so you can see just a brief explanation of what the chapter is. And then this goes into 4 different sub-modules. You can see them where my cursor is over on the left. Section overviews, lecture videos and notes, my open math assignments, and discussion threads. These section overviews are just quick overview. They're overviews of the sections. They're just quick explanations of what these sections actually cover. There's not problems or anything to do in them. It's just for your benefit. Is just think of it like a prologue to the chapter, or to the section, I should say. So those are good to read before you start, the section. Lecture videos and notes. The naming of these is not great, so I apologize for that, but this is kind of the best I could do. I have a link to our lecture videos. OpenStax, which is the place that hosts our textbook, has a bunch of lecture videos that you can watch. So you click on this, it'll take you to a YouTube playlist. You can find the section video that you're looking for, and you can watch it. You should be doing that every section. And then there's also lecture notes and supplemental notes. Those should be pretty self-explanatory. Supplemental just being little extra things. The lecture notes being something you should be reading through. So, I would recommend this is how you start each section. You read the section overview, you go to this lecture video playlist, you watch the associated video, you read the lecture notes. Now you're feeling, better about jumping into homework. One thing I will note at the very bottom of this submodule, I have links to supplemental videos, and I'm going to scare you real quick here when I click on this. There are a lot of them. These are obviously not something I'm expecting you to watch every single one of. I would love it if you did, though. These are just extra videos that if you're sitting there on section 3.3 and you're like, man, I would love some more worked out examples, here they are, right? So these are great resources for you. There are a ton of these. So make sure to keep an eye out for those in each of these chapter modules. They're just under the lecture videos and notes. I'll click on my open math assignments. This is one of the other sub-modules in here. Quite simply, this is the links to your homework assignments. These are integrated within MyCourses, but they're hosted on a website called MyOpenMath. This is automatically generated for you. You do not have to create an account with MyOpenMath. You'll notice I just clicked on that. It, of course, is telling me the course is not available at this time. Maybe I do this. I'm viewing as a student. Let's back out of this. So I'll view as an instructor, so things will look a little bit different. We'll close out of that. Give me just a moment here. Okay, we'll go to content. We'll go right back to where we were, section 3, MyOpenMath. If I click on this, it hopefully should instantly connect me to MyOpenMath. And you can see it says start right there. You won't see teacher preview, obviously, but you can click start and you can start doing your homework. So this is automatically integrated within MyCourses. It shouldn't, you shouldn't have to do anything with MyOpenMath, but here's your links to all of your assignments. So they're all right there. Discussion threads are the last kind of deliverable that you have within each chapter. I have either 1 or 2 discussion threads. There are more description about this and details about this in both our Getting Started module with the course overview, as well as in discussions themselves up at the top bar here where the cursor is. I have them linked here as well, so you can click on them and it'll take you right to it. But the nitty-gritty of it is that you're going to have to post a problem or like a solved problem or a question on a problem from the chapter. And you either have to do this once or twice depending on how long the chapter is. Obviously, if, this should go without saying, but for the second post, if we have one, you should post from a different section than the first time, so we're covering more topics. I'll go ahead and click on this so you can kind of see what it looks like. There's nothing here, obviously, because the course hasn't started, but once students are actually posting questions, you'll see those posts and you can reply to them. I fully intend for this to be just collaboration between students. I encourage you to help out other students because then they'll want to help you. You can learn from other students' posts. You can look at how other classmates are solving problems differently than you. You can catch mistakes in your classmates' posts and you can, call them out on it, which helps them because then they get the problem right. But it also helps you because you're actually really analyzing their work. These discussion threads, if I click on discussions up here, this will take you to the main hub with all of them. You'll see that, again, depending on the chapter, there's 1 or 2 of them that you have to do. And we have about 10 or so of these, maybe a dozen of them over the whole course of the semester. These start and end at the same dates that the chapters start and end, as we saw in the course schedule. There is some class introduction post here. This is just introducing yourself. Make sure you do that in the first couple days of the course. Also a discussion thread for just any questions that you may have. That's obviously not graded, but just a place for questions. So let's go back to content just to kind of look at this. Really, I've shown you pretty much everything. I mean, maybe I go down here and I click on something like chapter 5, something later in the course. It's going to look exactly the same. You have a nice little photo of a mountain there, and then dates, a link to the course schedule, links to the chapter and the textbook, things like that. An overview, section overviews, which I can click on. Boom, there's section overviews. Lecture videos and notes down here. I can click on that. It opens up the same things. Lecture videos playlist, a YouTube playlist from OpenStax, lecture notes, supplemental notes if applicable, and then the links to the supplemental videos, which, again, there's a ton of them. You don't have to sit there and watch every one of them, although I might recommend it. These are mostly just extra for you in case you want to dive deeper into a section. Going back, there's the My Help in Math assignments. These assignments, you can see the due dates. They're all due on the same day at the end of the section, right? You have your homeworks, you have an optional review, and you have a quiz which you're required to show your work for. There is a place for you to upload a PDF of your photos. It's actually the last question of the quiz. I may also open up something in assignments up here. I don't have that set up yet, but I may do that as well. Just an alternate place for you to submit photos of your work. But on the quiz, you'll take photos of your work. You'll combine them into a PDF. You'll send them to me, and then I'll grade the quizzes, and I'll give you partial credit because you've shown work. You don't have to do that for your homework, although I highly recommend it for you as a study tactic. But yeah, discussion threads, same thing. You can find them here. Midterms and final, right? We have links to those, which I'm not going to bother talking about because I don't have those fully set up yet because we're in the process of dealing with those. All in all, the courses is pretty straightforward. I mean, it's repetitive in the sense that each chapter is pretty much going to look the same. You're gonna have overviews, lecture videos, your My Help in Math assignments, and discussion threads. And basically within each chapter, you're required to do your homework and do the quiz at the end of the chapter. You're required to do discussion threads. You're encouraged, heavily encouraged, to watch all those lecture videos, read all those lecture notes, read all the section overviews, click on those supplemental links. But everything is pretty much just built right into MyCourses right here. So it should be pretty easy for you to just kind of, close your eyes and just click down and just click on everything and open it up and do everything. Funny enough, nothing else up here other than content and discussions is really that important on this top bar. Grades obviously takes you to your grades. But things like assignments and quizzes, we don't really have any use for those here. So I will note that we may have use for those if things kind of change come exam time. But again, like I've said, that's something we'll talk about later that I'll post announcements about. I should mention, now that I've said announcements, that just reminded me, if we go to our course home, you're going to see announcements here. Sorry, I should have dismissed that. We'll get out of that little welcome widget. There we go. You should see announcements here. I'm going to post these regularly. It's just really anything that I feel like you should know. Keep an eye out for that. Read those very carefully. Yeah, so that's pretty much our course. There's a lot of other details here. I mean, if you're sitting here wondering, wait, what calculator do I need? How do I deal with honor lock, which you mentioned, but you didn't really talk about because, like I said, I'm not really going to talk too much about exams. There's a lot of other stuff here. Make sure you're clicking through those welcome modules. You're clicking through, all the web pages there, and you're reading everything. And if you do have more questions, you can always reach out to me via email. My email is pretty simple. It's ryan.jones@frontrange.edu. You'll find that as well in announcements and in the syllabus and things like that. You can also message me internally through MyCourses, although I don't check that nearly as frequently as my email. Email is much easier, I think, for attaching files and communicating quicker. It pops up on my cell phone and I can, view my email quickly and respond to you on the fly if I need to. So I heavily recommend email as opposed to MyCourses internal messaging. So don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always available via Zoom. And one thing I do want to emphasize is that even though this is an online course, I am still very much your math teacher, just as if this was an in-person course. The only difference here is that we don't have lecture. You just watch lecture videos instead. So if you have questions, you want to quote unquote meet with me after class, don't hesitate to reach out to me via email, and we'll set up a meeting time. We can meet on Zoom real quick or real long, and we can go over problems. I can give you examples. We can do all that fun stuff. Sorry if that showed a screensaver there. But yeah, so don't hesitate to reach out to me. Treat me like a normal teacher. I'm happy to help. I'd like to think I know this material pretty well, and I have unique ways of explaining it and making my points clear. So yeah, wonderful. That's going to conclude this video. Like I said, if you have any questions, email me. And I'm excited for a good semester, and I hope you enjoy it as well.